Welcome to Morning with Madi. In this episode, I am joined by Agnes, my new friend from Sweden. I came across Agnes's artwork last week on Instagram, and I was amazed at how her work resonated with me. The video that caught my eye, and many others, shows Agnes's depictions of people who frequented the grocery store Agnes used to work at. Many others and myself were impressed by her ability to capture each person's humanity and essence with her artwork. So, hi, Agnes. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. It's so fun.
So, just for context for the audience, I'm here over in New England, New Hampshire, and Agnes is in Sweden right now. So, do you mind sharing a little bit about Sweden and your time over there?
So the thing is, Sweden is like I think one of the least interesting countries to talk about because the things that I do love about living here are like driest things ever, like the social security and public transport. But like there's nothing like flashy or like culturally interesting in my opinion.
Mm,
And I've never really felt like connected to Swedish culture in that sense, but it's a very comfortable life. And yeah, I like living here, but
that's
it's
great.
not that interesting.
Well, also, you're 6 hours ahead of me right now. So
Mm,
it's around 7 p.m. there. It's like 1 p.m. here. Um, all I know about Sweden, I might sound very uncultured, but like IKEA, right?
mhm. That's about it.
um, that's about it.
Yeah.
So let's get to the juicy questions. I'm curious as to when and how you began painting and using other mediums to create art.
So everybody draws as a kid, for their parents and in school and stuff. And I would say that I always liked it. And then when I was around like 12 or so, I started doing like fan art for Lord of the Rings and Taylor Swift and and I was like drawing a lot. And then like through middle school, like early teens, I hated my school. So every day in class, I would just draw in my notebook, like all
Mm.
day, every day. And I think it gave me a really good foundation, like like technique wise, and also like a good habit. So then in high school, I started like this Instagram that I still use, doing like fan art and stuff. And I decided like this is what I want to do, which is also what when I transitioned from like colored pencil to oil painting. And then I never looked back.
That's awesome. So have any artists influenced you?
Like 100%, I think every artist gets inspired by many different things, but I've always been like, I'm like by no means like an art history expert or anything. I'm so
Mm.
bad with names. So I'd say like more so select works rather than like artists. I usually don't, or I really should like keep track more of like entire artist's body of work. But I'd say like there are many like contemporary Chinese painters right now, portrait painters that I really like, but that I will never remember the names of. I just know their Instagram handles and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think everything, and I've always been very inspired by movies too,
Mm.
like in terms of like composition and like color palette and stuff. I've always liked drawing movie screen caps and stuff.
Got it. Yeah, I noticed some of your work that you had posted, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Mm.
Um, and so I was reading your bios online, and your art does touch upon like identity, relationships, ethnicity. Would you mind expanding upon that?
Yes, I think the thing is that my artistry is just about me and like
Yeah.
naturally like my relationships and my identity and my heritage, like they just naturally flood in because I feel like my work is it's a documentation of my life and what I've been interested in during that time that I made it. So, right now I did my first journey to Korea and met my biological grandmother for the first time. And I've been very interested in my Korean heritage. And I also moved in with my boyfriend, and just been
Mm.
I've like felt so much love that I'm just like, this is the like greatest feeling ever. You know how all the artists write love songs all the time. So I like recently haven't been wanting to paint anything else, and I think it just naturally becomes what I am interested in at the time. Yeah.
Got it. Well, that's a gift that you're sharing with the world is your experience. So moving on, or just expanding further. So Stammis, am I saying it correctly? Is that
Stammis.
the
Stammis, yeah.
Stammis? So can you provide context about that project to the
Yes.
audience?
So Stammis is like a Swedish slang for like regular customer, those who come in every day.
Mm.
And yeah, I worked in a grocery store for 2 years during like a very dark, like personal time of my life.
Mm.
And I was feeling very depressed. I was feeling like I was ready to give up my dream about art. And I was like, okay. And then, like, as I was working there and I started befriending these people, I just felt so much hope and faith in humanity and in life. And I
Mm.
saw so much beauty in their everyday lives. And I, they shared so much wisdom with me and just like made all my long shifts that I used to hate like so fun coming in and see you tomorrow, see you tomorrow. It just became so wonderful, which ultimately also gave me like the inspiration to sadly do something else with my life. Like they were so nice that I wanted to leave almost.
Mm.
So I decided to quit and study art school. And I knew I wanted to like somehow honor these meetings and make sure that these people are what I will remember from this otherwise pretty bleak time of my life. So I started this portrait project where I painted some of my favorites who wanted to be in it, to say thank you to them and also like remember this time the right way.
That's lovely. I that reminds me of the time when I worked at like a nursing home, assisted
Mm-hmm.
living here in New England, and I was just a receptionist, but it was one of my favorite jobs I've ever had because of the people, and
Mm.
I had such lovely encounters with people who shared me like just great wisdom about their lives. Um, and I remember that one of the residents knew that I loved like bright, like orange yellowish roses, and she had painted them in watercolor and then had all
Oh.
the residents sign when I was leaving the that job. Uh, and it made me cry because it was so beautiful. And I learned so many great lessons from all of these people. And it's like they were wishing you well, even though you were moving on. Um, they were happy for you and they helped you like understand that you were on to better things. So,
Oh, that's so
what
sweet.
it really
Oh,
was. It
it
really
reminds me of mine
was.
because I'm like, oh.
There's so many beautiful souls out there, and honestly, just being able to run into someone and have a just an authentic encounter with them, and be truly seen for what stage you are in life, and then was always really special.
That is so true because I feel like customer service has the worst reputation because of
Mm.
because of the people who are negative. But it's also such a luxury because you have like a first class tickets to people watching and you get glimpses of so many walks of life and you meet so many people that I would have never met the majority of these people in other contexts
Mm.
of my life, in my circles. I met other young people, sometimes teachers, like, so working there was such a blessing. And it was because
Mm-hmm.
of the people. Mm.
Yeah, for sure. You would grow a fondness for them.
Mm.
Like when I worked at a restaurant in New England here, I it was always really charming to know like a certain gentleman named John would always get like a dark roast coffee with like one
Mm.
sugar. And it just becomes so delightful to have like regulars come in, and it builds a sense of community, even if you're going through a hard time, or a depressive state mentally, at least when I was in that time too. So what do you seek to capture when you portray the people that you've met?
So for these people, like I said, I just felt like, oh my God, I'm getting like glimpses into so many different lives, and each of these people have their own job and their own family, and I was like, I want to somehow make the viewer of my paintings feel that as well. So I think the main priority was that they felt real and like real people, and not because they were had like really strong personalities, and they do look like your TV show cast. But I also like wanted to make sure that they weren't just caricatures of these people, and that they had their humanity, and that they were like the portraits were like painted with respect for everything that they were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so many people commented that you captured their essence so well. Um, and just their kindness, like their eyes for me, like you were able to capture like their light inside as well, even on a different piece of paper. So
Thank you.
want to recognize you for that. Onto your creative process. When do you feel most connected in your creative process?
So to me, my creative process is a big dramatic mystery. It really differs a lot. Like one day I'm like, this is what I'm meant to do. It's my favorite thing. And then the next day I'm like, I never want to see a paintbrush again ever. Uh, but it's like I've learned to just accept all the stages of my process. And I'm trying to start to see patterns and stuff, so I know when to rest and when to push it. But I have no clue. I liked painting in the night though, like
Yeah.
very late.
Like 1 in the morning or
No, like till 6 in the morning, like all night. That's when
oh,
when it flows the best. Because I
I
think
see.
I think it has something to do with like that I can focus, and that I'm like too tired to do anything else. So I'm just like,
Oh, interesting. That's really, really interesting to know. Um,
yeah. So it's been such a joy also now when I stopped the job, because when you had a job to go to the next day, you had
mhm.
to keep your sleeping schedule completely normal. But now when I do art full time, I can just sleep all day, and the next day I can just do what like benefits my like work the best. So it's been a blessing.
Mm. Do you listen to music or have a hot cup of tea to kind of get you in the mood or?
Yeah, music definitely, and
Mhm.
also I rewatch like old TV shows. Like I've seen Orange is the New Black like 70 times in the background, just like looping, just to make me sit longer and not get distracted by
Mhm.
my phone or anything. So
Mhm.
TV shows and YouTube videos. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. So, as people continue to discover your work, what do you seek to imprint?
I just hope that they get to take a break from their usual outlook on life and just see through another person's eyes, maybe. And not because my way is better or worse, just like for fun. Because I feel like every time you look at an artist's work, you get to see the way they view the world and how they process and what they think. And it's nice to switch lens sometimes.
For
Yeah.
sure. In addition to creating art, what other interests do you have?
So I don't know how people make time for everything, because I feel like my art takes like there's no time left when I'm done.
Yeah.
But I did start learning like photography recently, and I'm really into fashion too. So my boyfriend and I actually made like last month an Instagram account. The handle is Cyborgs Making Out, with just like random photos and videos and stuff.
I saw that. It's
Yeah,
awesome. I love the handle too.
yeah, it's good, right? We just like
It's
said it. We're
really
like,
funny.
let's go with that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's I saw a video of both of you. I think you were at dinner.
Mm.
Um, and it was very like cinema like very great. And
Oh,
I loved how
thank you.
you filmed it.
That's great.
So,
We are so ultra beginners right now, so that's good.
yeah, no, you can just tell like you're both have an artistic eye, but you're also having fun. So if
Mm.
you keep on putting that out there, I love it. It's great.
Thank you.
So I figured we could do like a miscellaneous questions we can ask each other. So what are you excited for this year?
I actually have my first solo exhibition coming up in November, and I'm at a very early stage in my career, and they called me. They were like, "You have a lot of work, right?" To And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't worry about it." But I really need to paint because I don't have enough to fill a whole room right now. So
Ah,
working on that, and being able to do exactly what I want, regardless of like Instagram algorithm or commission friendliness, like just what I
mhm.
want, is really exciting for me.
So
What
it's in
about you?
November, you said?
Yeah, November,
Th-
November.
Okay, that's so terrific. Are you gonna post about it or?
Yes, I
Okay, good.
plan.
I'm curious to keep up to date. That's really great. So I am excited for geez. I think just having more conversations with people that inspire me, getting more in touch with my creative self, um, and just having more time to reflect and journal, honestly. I just moved to like a new apartment with one of my girlfriends, and I'm just looking forward to welcoming new energy into my life. Um, and just creating, honestly, doing activities that are in touch with like myself, my true authentic self. So this is an interesting question. Um, but what is your favorite trend lately? So this could be fashion, it could be content that becomes more popular on the internet.
Oh, that's a tough one.
It's a tough one.
Don't follow trends. It's my trend. No, I'm kidding. I'd say one thing. I After the Barbie movie, I
Yeah.
saw a lot of really beautiful, like women-centered, like videos, really, really beautiful stories, and people sharing their experiences. And yeah, that's what I would say. Like that's one that comes to mind. Like the post Barbie movie reflections from girls,
Yeah.
really
Have you seen the
beautiful.
movie?
Yeah, I saw the movie.
I haven't seen it yet.
Ah, it was
I'm
really,
missing out.
really, really beautiful and also really, really funny.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Mm,
I heard that either you're gonna cry a little bit, you're gonna laugh for the first 20 minutes, but there's a lot to unpack.
mm,
So I'm supposed to see it next weekend.
mm,
So, but as for my favorite trend right now, I really appreciate just the wellness space and how people post like their self-care routines, um, and also the people that I think it's like it's a certain hashtag, but it's basically saying like you don't have to have the aesthetic clean girl home or outfit or hair, etc., to create meaningful content, um, or have like a great self care routine. So I would say just those kinds of posts that I can engage with is my favorite trend.
mm. Yeah, that's what I would say too. That people are so real and transparent. Also in the
For
art
sure.
world, like people are on the real tab. Because most people wouldn't post that on their normal pages like before. But now
Mm-hmm.
it's very much transparency. Like I made zero money this week. All my paintbrushes are dry. Like it's just like very relatable content. I really prefer
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is helpful.
Mm.
Do you have any self care practices that you find helpful?
So it is something that I want to get better at implementing.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, I've struggled with disordered eating. So for me, right now, it's just being eating and like nourishing my body. And because since I started doing that properly, I just noticed that how it affects every aspect of your life. Like you feel so much more energized, so much secure, and you sleep better. Like every aspect of your life improves if you just eat
Mhm.
properly.
For
So that's
sure.
my
Well,
main
thank you
thing.
for sharing.
Mm.
That's so important. That's along like your basic needs for, like Abraham Maslow shares, like water, food, shelter, all of those are your basic needs. So focusing on that is really helpful for sure. I find that for self-care for me right now is just again like focusing on food and water, having like consistent meal times, and then a nighttime routine in which like I can kind of journal a little bit and take my time with like taking a shower, a nice skincare, um, and then just making sure that I'm making a conscious effort throughout the day to challenge any negative thoughts that I may be experiencing. And like self sabotaging behaviors about
Mm.
whether it is like I'm prepared for this work project or meeting someone new. Like, I did not feel cool enough to meet you today.
What? No.
Yeah.
I was nervous
So,
too, so that's good.
oh, yeah. Well, now we're friends, so.
Mm.
um, so one more question. What is the best advice that you've heard recently?
I actually have one because my dad always tells me this, and it's never listen to any advice. That's the best
Oh,
advice. Yeah. So, do you listen to that or
really?
not? Make of that what you will. That's up to
Yeah.
you.
Have you listened to that advice?
That's the hard part to answer, but I try to keep it in mind, especially surrounding other people's opinions, especially now when,
Mhm.
my like career has been slowly starting. And
Mhm.
everybody's just like, oh, you should do this, you should do this, you should try this, you gotta, do brandings now, you gotta do this. And I just like, I'm just gonna not listen to anybody other than myself because
Yeah.
if not, it will get too messy. And
Hmm.
mm.
I like that. I really do. Um, I'm sure like your DMs and everything is just so loud right now. Um, and just like staying true to who you are at the center is like the most important. So, do you have any other questions for me today?
I want to know your advice, even though I'm not
Ooh,
supposed to
okay.
listen to it according to myself. I'd like to
Yeah.
hear it.
Yeah. I think the advice that I usually tell myself that consistently rings true
Mm.
is to have grace on yourself. I think that um, I am usually very hard on myself, and a lot of my friendships, I've recognized that my friends are also really hard on themselves. And especially in this society, there's a lot of comparison and like, oh, I should be here by this age or in this role or have this much money, etc. Or I've done better on some project, etc. And for me, it's just like speaking kindly to myself and exercising compassion and forgiveness whenever you may think that you're falling short of whatever goal you set out for the day is it's the most important for me.
That's
So
beautiful.
yeah, yeah. So, what can we expect from you the next couple months? So the solo show.
Yes. The solo show is like the biggest thing I'll work on, I think.
Yeah.
And I also have another exhibition that's like a group exhibition in September. So like I will be pretty busy. But I'll try to also upload more regularly, I think. But that is like a
Yeah.
full-time job in of itself. Just like
100%.
I'm a painter, but like now I'm also like a social media manager. Should post one TikTok, 5 stories, one. I'm like, what? It's that is a full-time job, so we'll see.
You do a
But
great job. I wanted to mention one more thing too, is that um, I really appreciated your self-portrait video in which you showed all your artwork where you drew a picture of yourself from like at the age of a little girl and then all the way till now. That
Mhm.
was absolutely beautiful, the progression.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Agnes, thank you for spending time with me today. Please feel free to let the audience know how they can find you.
Yes, so I have Instagram and TikTok at Agnes Yell Art, and the Yell is HJAL.
Mhm.
It's a bit hard for American. It's short for my Swedish name. And then my email is the same, but with @gmail.com.
And I'll include it in the show notes and the description as well. Well, wishing you a great day filled with positive energy. And until next time.
Till next
All
time.
right. Bye.